Good evening, and welcome to the Cozy Storyteller. My name is Emily Wren.
Tonight's story is entitled A Peachy Day in the Country and is written by me, Emily Wren.
Please like, comment, and subscribe, and gently boop the little bell icon. That way, you'll get a notification every time I upload a new story. This helps grow the channel so that I can write and read new stories to help you fall asleep or just relax. So turn off the light and snuggle down deep in your blankets with your favorite plush animal and enjoy the story.
Big, white, fluffy clouds float lazily in the clear, bright blue sky. You can see the wavy, whistling heat hovering over the asphalt as you drive your smart, classic convertible on the large country highway. It's the perfect day for a drive out in the country in the Blueridge Mountains. The deep green trees dance in the slight breeze. It's hot, but not unbearably so. The wind whips around your face as your car zips along the highway, and the air smells so sweet and clear and filled with the scent of growing green things. It's a much welcome change from the city, this pure mountain air. The mountains are a gentle ombre of blue and green, the edges of them slightly blurred from the atmosphere. The road weaves in and out, up and down, into the depths of the valleys, and onto peaks where you can just see out for miles and miles. The view takes your breath away. More than once this morning, you pulled over your car to an outlook area on the side of the highway, so you could just sit there and stare. At one stop, you saw a hawk, not flying, but gliding through the air like silk. His wings stretched out on either side of him, carrying him through the air currents. He looked so peaceful hanging in midair, swooping through the space between the mountains. Not hunting, but just flying for the sheer joy of it. You have a full day, and you're out early to make the most of it. There are many small towns spotting the topography, with tiny, unique shops, antique malls, fresh restaurants, and small coffee shops where they roast the beans fresh right there in front of you. Last night, you cleared out the trunk of your car to fit all the treasures you find on your trip today, and you can just imagine the seats in the trunk full of new things to fill your home and remind you of the joy of today. As you drive along into a dip of the valley, you come upon a large homemade hand-painted sign in the shape of a peach on the side of the road that just says, "Peaches, 2 miles," with a black arrow underneath pointed to the right. After this sign, there are other smaller signs. One that says tomatoes, another that says local honey, and yet another that says okra. Soon, the fruit stand appears, and you turn off and park your car in the gravel lot amidst several other vehicles. It seems to be a very popular place. The other customers look to be other adventurers out on the road exploring the slowness of a peaceful day along the highway and in small towns. The fruit stand is a small white building with a wide open covered porch in the front and an old-timey country grocery store in the back, built out of wood that's seen its fair share of peach seasons over the years. It's set back a little ways from the highway in a clearing surrounded by the brush of wild country forest. There's a large hand-lettered sign on the front of the building that reads "Fresh Produce" in black paint that's chipped around the edges. Back behind the fruit stand is a field where a small herd of black and white cows and a handful of horses graze on the thick clover covering the land. And beyond the field are ancient trees covered in kudzu. You can smell the sticky sweetness of the peaches before you even get out of your car. There are wooden stands in front covered in buckets and baskets filled to the brim with fat, blushing pink peaches. The sign says you can purchase them by the peck or the bushel. You find the basket that has the most perfect peaches and slide it onto your arm. The peaches feel solid and are heavier than they look. In a few days' time, they will ripen into the most delicious peaches you've ever tasted. "Good morning, honey," says the friendly, plump woman behind the counter as you enter the building. "Let me bag those peaches up for you." You thank her and continue poking around. Fans hung up in the open rafters of the building blow a welcome cool breeze back and forth. There are heirloom tomatoes in a wide variety of colors and lumpy shapes, heaps and heaps of fresh okra, sweet corn, bumpy cucumbers, and rows of every flavor of jams and jellies imaginable, next to rows and rows of honey, unfiltered, creamed, and with large chunks of honeycomb in the center of the glass mason jars, and even more rows of pickled pickles, peppers, okra, and eggs. They even have peach jalapeno jam. There are canned peaches, canned peach cobbler, and canned peach chili salsa. On the tables, set up with red checkered tablecloths, rippling from the air from the fans, are all sorts of pies, cakes, pound cakes, cobblers, and fried hand pies. Everything looks so good, and the air is thick with the wonderful scent of everything. Nothing could ever compete with the homemade tastes of these baked goods. You take a basket and fill it with all sorts of goodies until you have more than you can possibly ever eat. As you check out, you notice little cups next to the cash register with a little sign that says "Animal Feed." You purchase one along with your food so you can feed the horses and the cows before going on your way further into the mountains. The boy who bags your goodies hands you an oversized, crinkly brown paper bag filled with the peaches you picked out earlier, and it just smells of summer. You put your bags in the passenger seat, making sure none of the peaches roll out of the bag or any of your mason jars. The highway is still there, wide open with the big blue sky, the clouds hanging so lazily all white and fluffy. The day is still early, with enough time for many more adventures. Before you leave, you take the animal feed you purchased at the front counter and walk over to the field where the cows and horses are. There are several low-hanging trees, casting shade over where the fence is. When you approach the field, the horses and cows raise their heads and look at you. One cow slowly walks over to the fence, the bell around her neck clinking as she takes each step. She puts her head over the wooden fence expectantly, her ears twitching back and forth in anticipation. You shake out some of the animal feed into your hand and offer it up to her. She gently takes the food from your hand, and you rub her head as she eats. One of the horses notices you're giving the cow attention and noses his way over and snorts, shaking his head. You pour out more of the animal feed in your hand, and he takes it. The horse's lips are warm against your hand. You pet him on the head as well and stroke the black hair of his mane hanging down across his face. Too soon, the animal feed is gone. The cow makes her way back over to her friends, lowering her head to munch again on the fresh clover. But the horse stays, staring at you with his shiny brown eyes. You talk to him as you pet his long face. He's a deep chestnut color with a white mark in the center of his forehead. But the day is wearing on, and you tell him goodbye. Perhaps he will still be here on your way back, and you can visit with him again. He shakes his head again as if waving goodbye. You make your way back to your car. The gravel crunches under your tires as you back up and pull back out onto the highway, and the fruit stand disappears from view. You're not that far from the first town you have planned to stop at, where you are going to meet up with one of your old friends for an early lunch, before going to poke around the shops in the town.